Today we are going to dive into KPIs and how excited that is, right? Unbelievable. Key performance indicator. Who doesn't wake up in the morning hoping to discuss, design KPIs with your PMs or with your developers, with your QA or whoever is going to be working on KPIs? For a very long time, I had no idea what it actually meant. KPIs, like we are designers, right? Aren't we just, I don't know, designing stuff in the end? Why do we talk about performance indicators? Why do we talk about KPIs? What are they? Like they talk about KPIs all the time. That's a bit confusing. I just do work. I just do work that matters. I care about users. Should I be just designing? Well, I kind of tried to figure out what it meant to me, because in many organizations that I'm working, I realized that very often when you walk in a big organization with tens of thousands of people, first of all, you have to be able to defend your decisions, to defend your design decisions, right? You're kind of trying to do your best and you kind of try to figure out the right way forward. But very often what happens is people don't really trust you. Well, maybe they trust you, but just not to the point that they can say, oh yeah, you know exactly what you're doing. And we shouldn't blame them because, well, if somebody comes to you and tells you how to do your work, you probably wouldn't be pleased by that, right? So on the one hand, I had this feeling like I'm not really trusted. On the other hand, it's very difficult for me to defend my design decisions. And the third thing, it's kind of very difficult for me to kind of show the value of my work. So how do I demonstrate to my management or to my PM or to whoever that I contribute actual value to the business side of things? This would be my toolbox. This would be all the different things that I could be potentially measuring, but this is not the ultimate list of all the things I'm measuring. Typically, you'll be measuring maybe 4 to 5 things from this list, and usually a good combination of them. And the way it would work is you'll be looking at things like task success rate, how successful people actually are in completing their tasks, right? So for that, of course, we need to understand the landscape. We need to understand what is that the people actually do in our environment, in our product, in our service, on our website. What are some of the common things that they actually do? And then we track how successful they are in doing those tasks. And then we can also measure just how much time they spend doing that successfully, right? So these two things are always a part of the story, right? Another part of the story is error rates and error recovery rates, especially if you have a lot of forms. That can be very, very helpful. If you're dealing, let's say, with search, then search quality score would be important. What is that? How do you measure the search quality? Well, very easy. You look at the search engine, right? Very often you would see that search teams are measured by how up-to-date the system is. But who cares? Very often you have this assumption that if you just switch to another search engine, then all the problems in the world will go away and the search would get better. No, it won't, because usually the problem is not the search engine. The problem is the metadata that feeds into the search engine, right? So changing a search engine it's not going to do anything, right? What you need to do though is track what people are searching, how successful they are, and if they're getting what they need. How do we do that? Easy. You go to your logs and you take a closer look at top 100 queries that came to your search last year. Then with this list, hundreds of items, hundreds of search queries or keywords, right? You go to your editorial team or experts in that domain, whoever is responsible for or understands the domain that we're dealing with, right? And you ask them, so our friends, our users, our customers search for those things. Can you give me a list of things that they should see when they're searching for those things? Like maybe 3, 4, 5 for each, right? And then we do the mapping, right? So we get this list of like 500 things that need to be, or 300 things, 400 things that need to be displayed according to each search query, right? And so what we do then is we do the mapping, right? Looking at the top 100 queries that came our way and what we currently display in our search engine, we compare it against what should be displayed according to our experts. Usually you would get a percentage of the overlap between them, and that would be your search quality score. So the main motivation for the team would be to improve that quality score. They will be measured, and the success of their team will be measured by their search quality score, right? And again, there are plenty of other things and variations of what you could do, right? But another thing that I always bring up is also number 15, which is frustration score. Because typically, if you have common accessibility issues, common usability issues that you know are problematic, and you can address them, right? They're usually low-hanging fruit. And I always try to at least have something that can visualize very easily that, oh, we reduced some frustrations, we removed some pain points, we removed rage clicks or taps. So in many ways, this frustration score kind of has many other things kind of feeding into it, right? This could be things like empty results, search in search, right? It could be pages that, requests that have incompatible filters or anything like that. Any sort of frustrations or dead ends, that would be also important to measure. These are the things that we could potentially measure, right? And there are different ways of doing that, of course, as well. One of the nicer ways of doing that is to kind of follow a step that Anna Debenham has suggested in her wonderful article about feedback scoring and gap analysis. You can actually look into this on Google, right, and find a really nice approach of how it's done. And it's very simple. We write feedback statements and survey users first. That means that we send users a survey with up to 5 survey statements. That will look something like this. The product is easy to ingrain into my existing workflows. Strongly disagree or strongly agree on a scale from 1 to 5. Then we segment users by type and audiences and then plot the results. Now, the way it would look like, of course, is something like this. So we have 5 questions: supports the languages and integrations I care about, helps me understand my company's security posture, the tool is user-friendly, the support team is responsive and helpful. 5 things that are important to your business or important to you at this point, right? And of course, out of that, once you have it at an average, you set the goals and track them over time, right? So that basically means that when we look at something like this, right, we probably want to get better in some places. So if you feel like you're not scoring well in one of those domains, kind of projecting where you want to be, and kind of gives you this insight about what do you need to push or what do you need to invest your time in. And of course, it could be different depending on if you have new users, experienced users who have been using the service for a long time, and so on and so forth, right? And so this is pretty much it. You just need to send it to your users and you're getting some sort of an overview of where you are. And there is that.